And speak to Tess Ingram, who's the spokesperson for the UN Children's Agency, UNICEF. Is it very noticeable, Tess, the fact that many charities and aid agencies have temporarily suspended their work after the killing of the aid workers on Monday?
Sorry, I'm not sure if you heard that, but that was another loud explosion here just to the north of me in Rafah. It's not yet noticeable. Obviously, World Central Kitchen has paused their work, and that might be starting to have a ripple effect here in Gaza Strip. They're one of the key players that is providing food aid to the people of Gaza. And NERA as well, second largest agency here on the ground. So I think we're definitely going to see the impact of that in coming days as they stop providing the food and the meals that so many people were relying on.
What are children telling you, Tess, when you look them in the eye and ask them how they are?
They're not okay. They are exhausted. They are traumatized. They're hungry. I've met children who have been rescued from under the rubble. I've met children who have lost limbs. I've met children who've lost parents, who have been orphaned. The list is so long, and it's just heartbreaking. And I think that the mental health toll is really beginning to mount here. That hope is beginning to slip out from under their feet.
Tess, I'm going to ask you something quite specific, but it might be kind of interesting. When you meet a 6 or a 7-year-old Palestinian child compared to maybe a 14 or a 15-year-old, what difference do you see in terms of how they're reacting to what they're living through?
That is an interesting question, and I think it's an important one. I think the younger children are still finding ways to understand this situation and perhaps find adventure in it more than the older teenagers, who I think are really struggling without the lack of, without school, without study, without friends and the internet, and have a better understanding of the situation that they're in and feel more of that sense of hopelessness. With the younger ones, I hear from their parents that, they might not be sleeping well, having nightmares or changing the way that they play. But for the older ones, I've met girls who've said they don't want to live anymore.
Are you sheltering any Palestinian civilians, or have you set up shelters for them?
So UNICEF has provided tarpaulins and tents to help the people living here displaced in Gaza, and we work with a number of partners who are providing services to them. I went to an IDP site yesterday and saw recreational activities for children, and it was just lovely to see some kind of brief moment of joy and play amidst all of this terror.
How often do you bring new UNICEF employees into the Strip? I mean, simply because of the dangers that you're facing. I mean, you're clearly wearing a helmet for a reason. We're hearing explosions around you. Do you stay for a long time in Gaza, or do you come and go?
So we have national colleagues who live here, who have worked almost every single day since the escalation began, and I think they're just amazing.